Hello, everyone.
So we are Women for Women International. How's everybody doing today? Good? Glad to hear it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the work that we do and the context that we work in before passing it over to Matthias to talk more about how Resco fits into that. So we currently work in a lot of countries, but we have our flagship curriculum, Stronger Women, Stronger Nations, in 7 countries, and we are currently getting that started in Palestine right now. So we work in countries where there is a combination of poverty, gender-based violence, and recent or ongoing conflict. So our main curriculum, we operate that in Afghanistan, Iraq, starting it in Palestine, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Nigeria, Rwanda, and South Sudan. In addition to that, we work with multiple partners to provide different types of resources where the needs arise in an additional 10 countries. So that could look like supplying dignity kits to women after the earthquakes in Myanmar, or winterizing housing in areas ahead of cold weather. So it's a lot of various services. So the women that we work with are all across the board. We split our curriculum into 2 parts, social empowerment and economic empowerment. So social empowerment, we talk about their rights. What is gender-based violence? If you burn dinner, is it appropriate that your husband slaps you? Do girl children, should they have just as much right to education as boy children? And things like that. And then the economic side of things, we really want our women to start their own businesses, learn how to save. We teach numeracy as well. So that's a little bit more about what we do. We've reached over 669,000 men, women, and children through our Stronger Women, Stronger Nations curriculum, our men's engagement program, and through our partner work. And we are in more than 17 countries. We've had more than 465,000 graduates from our main Stronger Women, Stronger Nations program since our organization was started in 1993. So I'm going to pass it over to Matthias, and he's going to talk more about how Resco fits into that.
Awesome, thank you. So what it was supposed to take us 1 year to implement, it took us 2. I think many of you are probably familiar with these timelines. But I want to share three stories about this timeline. The first one is about partner selection. I decided to go for a cheaper Resco partner initially to save some money. We're a non-profit, so we need to cut everywhere where we can. And to their credit, they took us through a great initial phase of requirements gathering, process mapping, and we put together all the documentation to be able to begin the development in Resco. But when the time came to begin development, we came to learn that there are 2 Resco experts in the team have left the company. Not only that, we also learned that they were actually not official Resco partners. So that was an interesting moment. But Resco came to the rescue. They introduced us to the Higgins One team, and thank God for that, because within weeks they were able to take us from the vision and the requirements to a proof of concept. The second story is about bringing the users along. When we had an initial proof of concept, we traveled to visit our team in Nigeria. And when we presented the proof of concept to them, the initial reaction was like, you guys got it totally wrong. We presented a completely different way of doing work in the ground, and they were like, no, we've been doing this for 30 years. We're not going to start doing it in a completely different way. And they gave us a lot of feedback. They told us all the things that they didn't like, all the things that they wish they had in the application. And we spent literally the whole night implementing their feedback. And the next morning, we went back to them. We presented the application again, and they were like, whoa. Not only you really listened to us, but you managed to implement all of that overnight. And from very quickly, they turned from being the biggest doubters of this project to the evangelist that not only became big fans of the solution, but earning their trust really paved the way for being able to roll out the solution in all the different countries where we work. And the third one is about the team. So making sure to build the right team to be able to implement and roll out the solution is crucial. And when we were able to get Abby and Sebastian in 2023 to join this project, really took us off in terms of being able to accelerate not only the deployment, but the adoption and even the enhancements of the solutions very quickly that we're going to see next with Sebastian.
Okay, thank you very much, Matthias. So, hi everyone. Now I'm going to take you a little bit to see a little bit of our app and modules and what it looks like and what it does, in case you're interested. So first we have a few standard modules in which we use it to create the training groups that we have, manage their parameters, like where they are located, when they start, when they end, things like that, how many participants can they hold. We can manage the participants, also their data like name or last name or when they were born and things like that, and perhaps re-enroll them, change them from one training group to another. Yeah, so there you can see the list of participants and the settings of the training group, basic stuff. Other things that we do, of course, is use inspections for data collection. So we've got different surveys that we use. We use an initial intake survey to do the intake of participants to the group that creates the participant records after the intake is submitted. But we have also baseline at the beginning of the program, baseline surveys and endline surveys, and then 1 year after and 2 years after. So all of that is the data that the MERL team, that's the monitoring and evaluation team, they collect and use to monitor the programs. Okay, so there you can see a few surveys and the different sections it has. We are collecting about 200 indicators in the different surveys, on every survey, and then we see how those indicators change in time with the different data collection points. We also manage locations, like where the training groups are located, and then we can store that location where it is located and with GPS coordinates and things like that. Then some other more custom functionalities that we developed. So, for example, for training groups, we usually create training groups in batches. So we may go to a location and we need to create 10 different groups that have the same characteristics. So we have a special form that we just complete the location and when they start and things like that, and then that creates on the fly the 10 groups that we need with all the same information but changing the name. That's pretty cool and works great. We also recently developed a more JavaScript module to manage stipends for participants. So participants in the field, they receive a monthly stipend, and we are trying to start using Resco to track the giving of those stipends. So that requires a multi-lookup functionality in which for each stipend every month we need to fetch the active participants, create the array of records, and then for each one be able to track whether the stipend was given or not. And when it's paid, we can take a photo of the participant and store the GPS coordinates and timestamp of when that was paid, things like that, in order to have evidence of the actual payment. So this is something that is being rolled out this year. It's not entirely used, but we are working on that with the country teams. Another one is a module for the media that is being collected in the field. So we have communication officers that go to the field, they collect photographs and videos. And what we want to do is make sure that that media material gets correctly related to the existing records of training groups or participants, and that can be complicated. So we developed a module in which we go to Resco, we create a media record with the date and what it is related to, and with a Power Automate flow that creates a shared library on a folder that is automatically shared with the user creating that record, and then that way the user can just drag and drop the files into the folder in SharePoint. And then that folder, we know from Salesforce, what it is related to. So that way, everything that is inside there, we know if it's related to a training group or participant and which one, and then we can decide how to use that material. So that was a pretty creative solution that we came up, and we were able to develop it ourselves. So that was really good as well. Okay, and finally, some view of the dashboards that we have implemented that we use that are pretty crucial for the teams to be able to visualize and actually consume and use and make decisions with the data that they collect. So that's pretty important for them. So first, the field monitor. We use that to track the actual data collection that they do by location, by training group, by user doing the data collection. We can track whether there are some survey records with errors. So perhaps sometimes there are syncing errors and we need to figure them out and see what happened. They can also plan for their data collection and see what's missing or what should they be collecting next, or even do some samples. So we've developed the tool to have it sample the groups for them to see which groups they should go and collect the baselines and endlines. We don't collect them for all, just a sample of groups. Then we have the programs monitor, in which they can actually see how many active groups they have, or how many active participants they have, or how many they've had in a given period, how many graduates, or how many people left the program, and things like that. And then even see the actual records and tables, filter them out, and export them if they need to use them in Excel or whatever. And finally, the biggest one is the monitoring and evaluation dashboard. So this is where all the 200 indicators get processed, and they can consume it. We have a lot of key indicators already prepared for them to consume, but also we have a full indicators table that they can just export to Excel by filtering to specific groups or locations, or even in relation to the grants that they are being used. This is the full indicators table, so you can filter to whatever you need and then export it to Excel to use, for example, in reports to grants. And then we have this indicators analyzer in which they can select one of the 200 indicators and then look at it in depth and even change how it is disaggregated by different dimensions, by country or by year or by whatever else they may need. So that's very handy also when they need to look for some information in depth. So this is basically what we have, what we built. Hope you were interested, and if you want more information, we can talk about it later. Thank you.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we are hoping to use Resco going forward. So the monitoring department has kind of been the main users of Resco for our organization currently. We collect our baseline, endline surveys, we collect our follow-up surveys with our graduates once they've completed our year-long program. And like Sebastian showed, we have all that data in these really handy dashboards, and our country offices can use that data to make better, to improve our impact. We also just recently deployed the stipend module, so women get a monthly stipend, and now we are using this module where we hope to have everybody use this module to help make that process easier. A few other things we are interested in trying. The guides are really helpful for just teaching people how to do things in the app, how to use these tools. It's a huge resource that we could have just in terms of training, not just within using the app in collecting data, but other processes that we have with our organization as well. In the countries where we work, we have vehicles, fleets, and using Resco to track fuel and vehicle reports and other things like that could be really handy. Compliance checklists. We are interested also in using facial recognition as part of Resco. Our classrooms are usually 25 women. We would love to be able to use Resco to track attendance of those class sessions. If a woman misses more than 6 consecutive classes, she is dismissed from the program. So that would be a really helpful tool for us as well. And of course, the participant app, we would love to develop a version for the participants to use on their own mobile devices. Probably the next thing on our agenda is there's basically these DIY community credit unions, basically. They're called Village Savings and Loan Associations, and that's a huge part of our curriculum. We really want our women to have access to capital. And so how that works is each woman will put some money into this collective pot, and then they will have the ability to take that money out. It's earning interest the whole time. They can use that money to purchase an oven to start their own business. They can purchase cattle if their vocational track in our program is animal husbandry, for example. So that's probably our next thing on our list is being able to use Resco to, in some way, track the VSLAs, track the money that is earned, the interest, how many loans are being taken out, what are those loans buying, and overall how much that's benefiting our women. So we would really love to have some type of dashboard like Sebastian showed we have so many dashboards now, but they're awesome. We would love to have also a Village Savings and Loan Association dashboard so our women can know how much they're earning from their loans.